Good evening, and thanks as always for joining us here on Speed Racing Network. We got some great Wednesday night truck series action here at Michigan. I'm Greg Olenek here with Brandon Domain. Brandon, how are you doing tonight, bub?
Doing fantastic. Excited to see what happens here tonight. And I know the playoffs are a week away for us in the Xfinity Series and then the Cup Series as well. Still got 2 races left here for the truck guys, so a lot of time to figure things out. A lot of spots up for grabs on a wide open racetrack. Always fun here at Michigan.
Yeah, with 2 races left to go until the playoffs, though, we are going to see that action ramping up even more at this fast 2-mile oval here in the trucks. You know, not a lot of time left for these guys to get back in the playoffs. We just had a crazy race at Watkins Glen as well as Charlotte a few weeks ago, so it is definitely picking up here on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, and the opportunities are getting farther and farther apart, where there's just not many points left available, but we still have those 13 spots up for grabs. Well, no, we'll get into the details of that here soon when it comes to that playoff cut line where the top 15 make it in 2 weeks after we finish up at Vegas. And so many positions there, so many close battles, a couple guys real close to that cut line that are just on the outside. I'm just really excited for this race.
Yeah, and a new winner last week here in SRN, so we'll see if we can get that again tonight at Michigan, but let's go ahead and see what we're doing here. I believe it's a 65-lap race at Michigan, 1 faster pair, so they will have that in their back pocket if we do see some action out there. I know we had about 8 cautions last year, so could we see the same thing tonight?
You very well could, and this is a very wide racetrack. You pretty much go full throttle around here, maybe not so much with the draft, but out in front, you can go full throttle for a good 10-12 laps around this track in these trucks. So there's going to be some runs for people, but there's so much space out there to be making passes. I would hope that we won't see those 8 cautions. Last season, this was the penultimate race of the season, right before we got to Texas for the finale. So there was a whole lot of pressure on people. I think that contributed to it a bit. Tonight, there's going to be more thought about the points than just trying to get out in front and get that spot in the championship race. So hopefully we avoid those cautions.
Yeah, we should have about a full field for this Great Lakes 130 here in Week 12. But let's go ahead and move on now in the Healthcare Billing Incorporated pre-race show to the league details as we always get to here. And it's a 20-week fixed setup league. 1 faster pair, like I always mentioned, $5 a week is what these drivers are paying to get in on weekly and season payouts. $300 going to that first place champion. We have a 5-person team limit as well, and these guys are racing for $100 in the team championship.
And we talk about the playoffs being a couple weeks away for the individual side of things. It's also a couple weeks away from the teams here in the Truck Series, or after Vegas. We're going to get it all sorted out, ranked out in like a traditional sports playoff format type deal, going bracket style, competing for that $100 team championship. And who knows if the person that wins the individual title is also on that team championship side. That's going to be a nice little payday for somebody.
Yeah, always some money to grab here at Speed Racing Network, and this is what these guys are trying to get in their pockets tonight. First place going to triple that entry fee and come away with $15. Second, going to get $10, and third through fifth going to get their money back. We always like to mention how it starts to add up, and this is the part of the season where you'll really start to see it since we're starting to get into Week 12 action tonight.
Absolutely, and last week we talked about the first-time winner with Blair Holloman coming away with the win at Watkins Glen, walking away with those $15. But we've seen Landon Cardulo, Jonathan Byer, guys that have just racked up top 5 finish after top 5 finish this season. So they've made a nice payday here this season as we're just past the halfway point in the overall season, getting close to the end of the regular season, of course. But a whole lot of money still left on the table as we got those season payouts as well.
Yeah, and contrary to last year where we were paying first through fifth, we're going to pay first through eighth out this season. First going to come away with $300. Second going to get $150. Third going to get $90. Fourth place going to get $60. And if you make that final 5 round, you're going to make at least $40, which is 8 races if you think about it. Sixth place going to get $30. Seventh going to get $20, and eighth place going to come away with $10.
And I like the way that you put that. 8 races getting paid off or paid back at least if you make that championship race. And honestly, if you make the top 3, you're just about guaranteed at that point to be getting your entire season paid out, with third place being just short of that. So real exciting. Love that new initiative with 6th, 7th, and 8th getting paid out this season as well. Last season in the trucks, we had the championship 6 because of tiebreakers. So we would still have a couple people racing that came up just short for that championship race, and being in contention of that, having some money to race for as well.
Yeah, and if you're trying to get in on this action, a way to help you out, maybe get into that top 8, might be Kane Cook Sim Coaching. And Brandon, you said you use them at the beginning of the season for transferring over from trucks to Xfinity. I've used them for quite a while now. I set up a session last night just to kind of kick things up as we head to the playoffs, and it really helped me focus on some things that I was lacking on. And this is what Kane Cook can do for you as well.
And Kane is just such a good coach, and a lot of times, you get to these top level performers or athletes in sport or anything like that, and the coaching sometimes just doesn't kind of meet up with the talent level of somebody. Kane is a very talented racer on iRacing, obviously being in the NASCAR series, racing for that $300,000 purse. You see that I rating up over 7,000. He's got 2 accounts up over that number, which is just an astronomical number, but he is just as good of a coach as he is a racer. Really breaks things down well, and it's not just cup cars he's good with. He is great with Xfinity and trucks as well, so definitely look him up on speedracingnetwork.com. Book a session. You can do 1-on-1, 2-on-1, get a whole team going, however you want to get it done. But he's great to work with.
Yeah, a lot of options out there for setting up a session with him. But you're right. This guy's been on the sim for years and years and years now, and that knowledge has led him to getting a spot in the Premier Series here on iRacing, the Coca-Cola Series, racing for a huge prize within that. So this guy can help you with the pressure situation of racing, and say in the SRN playoffs, and that's definitely the knowledge that I'm looking to get out of him. And Brandon, he has something for everybody out there.
Without question, and it seems like might not be in the playoffs myself, but definitely time to actually hit him up again and possibly get a little bit better for next season and start focusing on that. But he's always been available, always good with whatever you want to work on with when it comes to racing. He's just a fantastic resource.
Yeah, well, I'm not counting you out just yet with that playoff lucky dog hanging in the balance. We'll see if we can get you in there. But let's go ahead now and check out the beer of the week here on the Healthcare Billing Incorporated pre-race show. And Beer Street Journal has it for us this week.
This week's beer of the week comes out of the Dogfish Head Brewery. A while back, when Dogfish Head and Boston Beer merged, it was huge news. You might know the name Boston Beer because it is the parent company to Samuel Adams Beers. But once the two companies merged resources, Utopia's barrel-aged worldwide stout was born. Samuel Adams Utopia's is a strong ale at about 27% alcohol by volume, and it usually runs about $200 per bottle. So Dogfish Head decided to use the old barrels from Utopia's and had its worldwide stout rest in those barrels and soak up that flavor for 7 months. It created a jet black, rich, and roasty beer with notes of espresso, cocoa, sherry, and vanilla. Now that's how you put together a collaboration. While its release date hasn't yet been confirmed, we've been promised that it's coming very soon. So be on the lookout for Utopia's barrel-aged worldwide stout. Your taste buds will feel like they're in a utopia. The Beer of the Week is brought to you by BeerStreetJournal.com, the leading online publication for craft beer reviews. Go to BeerStreetJournal.com to find your next great beer. And as always, you must be 21 to enjoy, and please drink responsibly.
Well, thanks as always to Beer Street Journal for this week's Beer of the Week. Brandon, coming out of Dogfish Head, out of my hometown of Delaware, well, home state of Delaware, I should say. Utopia's barrel-aged worldwide stout, and I heard this one is quite up there in the alcohol rating.
Yeah, that's a strong one for sure, and definitely something that I would really want to be given a shot here, just because I like trying the stronger ones. It's always fun, and stout's just pretty good up my alley. But something local to you, how you feel about this one?
I'm a big Dogfish Head fan myself, and I love a good stout, especially when we start to get into the fall or winter time here. Good heavy beer never does anybody wrong. So I'm definitely going to try it out. Look out for it here down in the Carolinas and see what I can do with it. But now moving on here, let's go to the inside the cut standings here on the Healthcare Billion Incorporated pre-race show. And there you see two guys in green already locked in, both from Jonathan Byer Racing. Jonathan Byer himself, as well as Landon Cardullo, our top two. Sean Jensick sitting there in third. Blair Holloman in fourth. And Michael Madden rounding out our top five.
And all five of them have been just fantastic all season long. And JBR with two drivers, the only two drivers already locked in. They're trying to lock in all five of their drivers. See Jack Johnson, Kyle Wimble, and James Kerr all sitting inside the top 15 right now as well. But the thing really catching my attention is once you get past Josh Mueller in seventh, look how tight this is. Going from 234 points, less than 30 points away from dropping out of this entirely is Lucas Lyons. Only 2 points behind is our 16th place driver behind the cut. So there is a thin margin of error here for a lot of guys tonight that are currently sitting inside the top 15.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons, 28 points above the cut. Has a good cushion, but still needs to be careful out here tonight at Michigan. If he can get himself a good finish, he can get himself in position to lock it up next week at Las Vegas. But these are our guys that are currently sitting outside the cut, trying to get in there and get their shot at $300. Robert Yost sitting in 16th. He's got good speed out there tonight. Cody Riggs in 17th. And Brad Herman, who we've seen running up front frequently here in the SRN Truck Series, sitting there in 18th.
And I wouldn't count out a few other guys out of this either, with Dave Feud just being 12 back, Taylor Smith 18. I think even Michael York and Bruce Amston sitting within 30 points away from that cut line have a shot. The problem for them isn't so much the points they got to make up, but the amount of people they got to pass in the process. But I wouldn't count them out just yet. They kind of got that outside shot. Michigan, kind of one of those racetracks, though. It's going to run a lot like a super speedway tonight, where it almost having that Daytona, Talladega type feel based on the drafts that we've been seeing in practice. So this is anybody's ball game.
Yeah, and I would say about 26th through 32nd. Those are your drivers that are going to have absolutely, or have to have perfect weeks the next 2 weeks if they're going to have a shot at getting inside the top 15. So we'll look out for those guys to be running up towards the front tonight, or we might be seeing them in red next week. But now taking a look at the team standings here, Jonathan Byer sitting up there in first, 106 points ahead of Revved Racing there, and Next Level Motorsports are top three. And Brandon, this is all for seeding about that for that playoff team championship that we've been talking about this whole pre-show.
And I mean, we talk about that seeding. JBR actually has that interesting point of Bobby Anderson Racing. We've talked about this a lot, but they were the team that joined last about 6 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season. So they had that come from behind mentality this entire time, but they could be a sleeper once we get to the playoffs. But then you look at Revved Racing currently would have the do-gooders. Next Level would currently face Stryker, and then Zuyost and Tank. The way that the points are playing out right now looks like they'll be facing each other in that first round.
Yeah, and I'm hearing JBR can lock up that number 1 seed tonight with a good running out there. But that 8 seed of Bobby Anderson Racing that you mentioned has to be careful, and we'll see why in a little bit. They only have 3 drivers on their team currently, so they have to do their best each of these weeks. No mistakes if they want to have a shot at JBR with how they're running once we get into this playoff. But moving on now, let's go ahead and get to the driver introductions here on the Healthcare Billion Incorporated pre-race show. And first up is going to be the team I just mentioned, JBR, Jonathan Byer Racing, and they have had an absolutely fantastic season this year in SRN. Kyle Wimble in the 313 of Landon Cardullo has a win out there. The 35 of Jack Johnson has run really solid all season. Jonathan Byer with 2 wins earlier on in the season, the 66, and James Kerr in the 75.
We've always said it's just a matter of time until Jonathan Byer Racing and Jonathan Byer himself got into victory lane. It was just one of those dam-breaking moments, and they've just absolutely crushed it ever since picking up that first win with 3 wins in the last 7 races, I believe it is. Kyle Wimble had a top 5 in Michigan last season, so keep an eye on him tonight as well as a possible 3rd winner for JBR.
All right, moving on here in the driver introductions. Revved Racing going to be up next, and they have quite the team as well, sitting just behind JBR in the team standings. Lucas Lyons in the 7, Michael Madden in the 15, the 29 of Sean Jensick, the 97 of Sean Kozier, and the 12 of Cody Riggs all out there tonight.
And Revved can lock up a couple drivers into the playoff tonight without any help from anybody else. Sean Jensick just needs to finish 32nd or better tonight, so that might not take a whole lot, as we do have a field of about 40, but that's still a pretty solid, simple finish there. Michael Madden, 6th or better to lock his spot in the playoffs.
All right, next up is going to be Next Level Motorsports, and they have quite a few wins to their name so far this season. Kind of restructured their team halfway through, but have put together quite the roster out here. And they have the 5 of Michael York, the 32 of Troy Techmeyer, the 43 of Stan Carnathan, the 69 of Brad Rivers, who we've seen running really well lately, and the 85 of Brad Herman, who I mentioned was up towards the front in most of these races so far this year.
He's done fantastic picking up the win just a couple of weeks ago. The guy with the pressure on him right now is going to be Michael York in that 5. He's been real fast in practice tonight here, getting ready for this race, and he's sitting just outside that cut line. Going to have to make a move here if he wants to move into that top 15.
All right, well, next up is going to be our 4th team in the standings, getting their first win last week with the SRN rookie Blair Holloman at Watkins Glen. Zuyos Racing, Don't Feed the Animals, and they're going to have their team captain, a 98 of Rob Yost, looking to make his way inside the top 15 out there tonight, showing some really solid speed with his half-brother Blair Holloman in the 06, who got that win at last week at Watkins Glen. Dave Hughes Jr. also looking really fast out there tonight, needs to get inside the top 15, and Mike Mosby has been solid all year in that 99 truck.
And tonight, this team, top to bottom, just looks real strong, working their way around Michigan. And drafting going to be a factor. They've shown great teamwork this season, so that could come in handy. And Blair Holloman can lock up his spot in the playoffs here tonight with a 20th or better on the finish tonight after picking up that win last week. I think he's got the momentum to get that done.
Yeah, we'll see if they can put it all together out there and get another win here tonight for Zuyos. But moving on, let's go ahead and get to the 5th team in the standings. That'll be Tank Racing, and they have a winner on their team as well. Jacob Zala getting it done at Darlington. Josh Mueller looking to get that first win on the season in the 26. Bruce Amsden in the 63. Walt Lipicki in the 64. And Jeremy Duncan in the 79 truck.
And the big thing for Tank tonight, aside from trying to move up into that 4th spot, possibly into the 3rd, they're going to need a lot of help to get to that position in the team standings. But individually, Jacob Zala, Josh Mueller, they can lock themselves into the playoffs, but they can only do it one way, and that's by a win tonight.
All right, well, moving on here. In the driver introductions, it's going to be Stryker Motorsports, Brandon, and this is your team, so take it away.
Appreciate that as always. Stryker Motorsports, fast as lightning, as you see it there. Team tonight is going to be Matt Johnson in the 1, Tevin Whitner in the 9, Don Milkowitz, who's shown some real good speed for a lot of the season in the 33. Likewise for Kevin Winker in the 42. They've just kind of had some bad luck here and there throughout the season. And Travis Trevelyan, the team captain in the 71, been an up and down season for Stryker, but they have shown those flashes where they do have that speed that they need.
Yeah, and a few of these drivers sitting there just outside of that red zone that we saw, eliminating them from playoff contention. So a few of these guys going to have to get out there and get at it tonight to possibly get in contention for that top 15. But moving on now, let's go ahead and do the do-gooders introduction. And they always like to go by the fun team out there here in SRN. And they're going to have the 17 of Danny Setzer, the 24 of Taylor Smith, the 88 of Joseph DuPont, the 90 of Corey Knight, and the 239 of Joey Farrell.
And honestly, I think Joseph DuPont in that 88, he's kind of gone a little quiet throughout this season, but it has just been consistently really, really strong, and he's got a pretty solid spot inside that top 15 with these final 2 races left in the regular season.
Yeah, it's sitting 3rd on the speed charts right now for qualifying, so looking really fast out there tonight. But moving on to the last team and the team standings here, it's going to be Bobby Anderson Racing. And like I mentioned, these guys are going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball once we get to this playoff format. They only have 3 drivers on their roster, consisting of the 18 of Bobby Anderson, the 54 of Jason Crackey, and the 55 of Michael Amenti.
Yeah, they're going to be short-handed, which does mean that, we take the top 3 scores every week for each team. So if they have one that has a problem, that the entire team's going to have a problem when it comes to the team format. But all 3 of them have been real consistent this season, kind of just building up some momentum. And Bobby Anderson going to be somebody to keep an eye on tonight as he's on the bubble entering this race.
All right, well, let's check out our independents out there tonight as well. You got the 01 of Bo Tiffany, who's been running with these boys lately. The 14 of AJ Pritchett. The 40 of Zachary Burgesson, the 87 of Andrew Harris, as well as the 93 of Brad Yonkman. So those are our independent drivers here tonight. But let's go ahead and get out there to the grid. These drivers are getting lined up for the Great Lakes 130. Dave Fuge Jr. getting on the pole tonight for Zulios Racing. Lucas Lyons just to his outside. Joseph DuPont, who I mentioned having a good run in qualifying, is going to be starting third, and Bobby Anderson starting fourth.
In row 3 on the inside, we'll have Brad Herman starting in the 5th position for Next Level Motorsports. The second driver for Revved Racing is going to be Sean Jensick. He'll be starting on the outside in 6th. Row 4, James Kerr for JBR will be their lead driver in qualifying in 7th, and Michael Madden will round out that 4th row in 8th.
Jason Kracky going to be starting 9th. Don Milkowick's going to round out the top 10. AJ Pritchett going to be in 11th with Mike Mosby coming home in 12th. So a lot to get to. 65 laps out here at this 2-mile oval here in Michigan. High speeds, high bank turns. Brandon, who do you got tonight?
Well, I just mentioned the guy to keep an eye on one of our last team slides is the man that's on the bubble, and he had a good run here last season. So I'm going to look at this 4th starting position, and Bobby Anderson in that 18 truck finished 6th place at Michigan last season, led for some little bit of that race as well. Just real consistent. I think this track kind of fits his style pretty well, along with that pressure he's got of trying to hold off those guys behind him, trying to move into that top 15.
And a really cool pink-themed truck for breast cancer awareness as well. Beautiful truck out there for the 18. Great pick. I think he's going to do really solid tonight as well. But my guy's starting a few spots ahead of him. I'm going to go as the homebody here for my team. I think Lucas Lyons is going to take it here tonight. He has just been putting in the work every race, showing some really good speed out there, sitting right about mid-pack as far as the individual standings go, but still needs to keep the foot on the throttle to get inside that top 15 for when playoff time starts. So Lucas Lyons is my guy tonight.
A lot of speed there. He's been real good this season. Not a bad pick there either.
All right, well, the pace car is out on track, pacing our guys. We got a big field out here tonight, so it is going to get ramped up here shortly. Unfortunately, these pace laps are a little bit long, so you got to hear me banter a little bit longer. But, man, it is going to be fun once we get it going.
And I was actually a little distracted looking at our pole sitter, Dave Fuge Jr. in that truck that looks a little bit like the Animal House tank at the end of the movie with the skull and crossbones and everything there. It kind of gave me that vibe, at least, of a movie about 40 years old now. But great movie, great driver, and a great run here in qualifying for Dave Fuge Jr.
Yeah, I wish he would stop blinking so we could see that truck. It's really beautiful out there, so hopefully he keeps that. And I'm a big fan of all black cars. Hopefully he keeps that thing out in front tonight. But unfortunately, going to have to get that connection issue figured out. Otherwise, the admins might tell him to go to the back after starting on the pole. But the pace car is off, and we will see the green flag flying here shortly. And Dave Hughes Jr. will get it underway for the Great Lakes 130.
Sorry about that. He got a huge jump there as the pace car came right off, and he just took a big run going into turn 1. See him already about a quarter of a second ahead of Lucas Lyons and still continuing to blink. Hopefully that sorts itself out. There are some times that it just happens more when the field is kind of bunched up during a caution or just after, so hopefully that does clear up here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm showing quite a few blinks for Dave already, so he might be getting a talking to here shortly unless that thing clears up. But Lucas Lyons already taking a look to the inside of the 16 potentially, and it is showing that this inside line is probably the preferred way to go. Now, Brandon, I haven't really driven the trucks around here too much, so you might be able to elaborate more on that.
So I think it is for a while, maybe about 10 or 12 laps. But once you get about halfway through a fuel run, the tires start to wear out, and you kind of lose the ability to kind of hold it flat out, which you can do early in the run, unless you get a huge run from the draft. So as long as that's there, you can still make a pass on the inside. But once those tires start to wear, that preferred line is going to instantly jump up to the outside. And speaking of instantly jumping on the outside, big wreck. Jonathan Byer caught up in it.
Michael Madden on big time drivers here.
Several drivers involved. I was about to say Michael York, but that's actually the 15. Didn't see that one in front of it, so that's Michael Madden. Milkowitz involved. I believe that's Cody Riggs. Oh, sorry, Bruce Amston.
Yeah. Wow, look at
wow.
I've never seen a truck drive like that with so much damage. So let's go ahead and see exactly what happened on this Beer Street Journal wreck replay. As always, please drink responsibly. This happened right in the middle of turns 3 and 4, about 6th on back, I want to say. Michael Madden turning up into Brad Herman and just unleashing chaos among the field.
Yeah, see Pritchett there getting turned around into the wall. Seeing a whole lot there, but Don Milkowitz probably got the worst of that, getting up on his side pretty quickly, and that was just one of those. We said it was going to drive like a super speedway for a lot of this race tonight around Michigan, and this was a super speedway type looking wreck, as you see them all just get bundled up there, and Don Milkowitz nearly just going barrel rolling into turn 3, taking a hard shot to the driver's side there as well. Brad Herman with heavy damage in that 85, but a lot of contenders here tonight taken out in this one, at least losing that first fast repair, that only fast repair. They can get back out there, but they're going to be on thin ice here the rest of this race.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see any netcode there. That just looked like a bad judgment call on Michael Madden's part there, thinking he was probably clear, but just nipping the tail end of Brad Herman and just turning him around and sending a bunch of cars hard into the wall.
And that's so easy to do around this track. You kind of start thinking, all right, I want to get to the wall, want to get that kind of just gentle line where you're kind of swooping down towards either the yellow line or at least that first seam on the track, up from the yellow line where it separates the track from the apron. And I think he just either had too much of a run on the inside with that draft or just missed it by an inch or so, thinking that he was clear and wasn't, and just making that little bit of contact, and that kind of set off that whole chain of events. We got a good 8 or 10 trucks that are already without their fast repair here for the rest of this race.
Yeah, very early on too, over 60 laps still to go. But that's just the crazy thing about Michigan, is there's just so many lanes that you can race on, but you got to get the lane that you want. Otherwise, you might get the train going out there. And it's almost like super speedway, like you mentioned, and it just, you can lose a lot of spots fast. But we'll see if those guys are able to rebound and get back up towards the front, because they weren't running too far back from our leader, Lucas Lyons.
No, it was there was a lot of top 10 trucks that were involved in that one. In fact, one of them still in the top 10. AJ Pritchett or Anthony Pritchett sitting there in 7th or 8th. I believe 7th position. He might be pitting now, actually. So I take that back. But he was still rolling after being caught up in that one. But 1 to green, he's going to come in and go ahead and get that repair fixed.
Well, there you see it. Pace car lights are off. We're going to start getting these things stacked up 2 by 2 to go green again here at Michigan with 60 laps to go once they go by the stripe next time by. But our top 5, Lucas Lyons, Dave Fuge, Sean Jensick, Joseph DuPont, Bobby Anderson. Not too much change there. So, well, actually, James Kerr is actually running 5th. So, but we have a few big movers so far. Kyle Wimble already up to 7 positions. You mentioned him in the pre-race show having a good run here at Michigan last year. Already moved up into the top 10. Bo Tiffany up from 16th to 11th. Cody Riggs up from 22nd to 12th. So he's up 10 spots already. One of those drivers outside the cut. But some heavy damage on the front end there. I'm surprised he didn't come in to get that fixed.
Yeah, even if there's no engine damage, it's going to hamper the power of that truck. It's going to be just a big parachute that he's going to have on the nose. And this is a track where aero sensitivity goes a long, long way. Any little bit of damage there on the truck, especially on the front, is just going to make this a long rest of the night.
Yeah, he's probably going to lose some spots quickly with all that damage. But maybe just wanting to hold on to that fast repair for anything else that may happen later on in the race. So we'll see how that strategy works out for Cody Riggs. But the pace car is peeling off. The field is going to be in Lucas Lyon's hand. See how early he wants to go. Maybe you're trying to get a jump on Dave Fuge Jr., just like Dave did on him a few laps ago. Gets a good start, but Dave Fuge right to his outside.
That's a great counter on that restart by Dave Fuge. He's going to fall back in line behind Lucas Lyons, but that was about as close as you can possibly get early in a race when you're still kind of feeling out what a leader wants to do on these restarts. That was a great job by Fuge in second. Sean Jensick tucked in right behind him. Joseph DuPont also in line real close, and Blair Holloman moving up to sixth. Saw him just a second ago making that move around Bobby Anderson. So Holloman moving up here early.
And this is where it can get sketchy with these guys running with Dave. It looks like it's cleared up for now, but there goes, as I say it, the blinking again. That can get really, really sketchy for these guys that are running up towards the front. That truck can start bouncing around, or if they get racing really tight, who knows where that 16 is going to be. So something to pay attention to here as he's kind of staying away from these guys now.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of the race chatter that's going on, and it sounds like there was a little communication from the admins to Dave Fuge, just kind of letting him know, like, hey, you're blinking a lot, be careful out there, kind of start knowing what you're doing and just hold that line as best as you can. So kind of that protocol of what happens when you start blinking, and if it doesn't clear up, it's just going to get farther and farther in terms of a little bit of punishment there where you kind of have to fall back. Oh, contact there between DuPont and Holloman. They're both going to keep it together coming out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, and that comes from what I was just saying. I think they're just trying to stay really far away from that 16, and that just kind of got Blair into Joseph a little bit. But, man, these guys are racing right on top of one another for first, second, and third. Lyons, Jensick, and Holloman all going at it.
Man, great run coming here, it looks like, from Sean Jensick. He was right on that back bumper of the 7 of Lucas Lyons, but not being too aggressive here, just kind of giving him that little bit of time. But I think he knows with the way that this draft is working out around here, that's a good opportunity. But Blair Holloman not going to be waiting around. He's going to take that shot to the inside, using that little bit of a slingshot as he goes into turn 1 on the inside. This should still be a good passing line down low for now. I think it's going to transition to being the outside being predominant for passing here in a bit. But Holloman going to take advantage of the fresh tires still, but trying to make that work on the inside. But a big momentum run from Jensick's going to keep him in second place.
Yeah, I was worried. Sean gave him too much room to slide up there, but still carrying a lot of speed in that 29 truck all the way down the backstretch. These guys about evenly spaced out from first through fifth. I'm not sure. Is that James Kerr making a move on Dave Fuge Jr. trying to get up to fourth? So great run so far by this 78 truck. And then right there, Mike Mosby, who's always just quietly running in the top 10, moving his way into the top 5 now.
And James Kerr kind of going with that lone man positioning down there all the way on the bottom of the racetrack, and it's a little bit bumpy down there. It kind of doesn't want to turn as well as the higher grooves around Michigan, and so that does have a little bit of a trade-off there. You're going to be by yourself. You're not going to have to worry about a whole lot going on around you, and you can kind of drive it in a little bit deeper, but that just gets real unstable at times. You see him drift up there and have to back out just a little bit before he washed up into either the 99 or the 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to lose quite a few spots here and fall back to, I believe, 9th place. But still running up here with the leaders, always a boost of confidence when you're heading into the playoffs. So this could pay dividends for a lot of these JBR drivers. Jack Johnson as well, who's moved up to 7th in that 35 truck. So Wimble, Johnson, Kerr running 6th, 7th, 8th as we speak.
And it looks like that inside line is starting to lose the premier line status as everybody's trying to filter out to the outside as best as they can. See a couple of guys, Wimble and Kerr, down on the inside, but they kind of got shuffled down there. And everybody's starting to drift up high. And as these tires wear out, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, the outside line wants to wear the tires out a little bit more than the inside does, actually. But because of the turning radius, because of the instability that you get on the inside, it's just so much harder to actually get around there once you have worn tires. As you see Wimble and Kerr each falling back a good bit, is that outside line just really moving.
Yeah, Jacob Zala having quite the battle with Landon Cardulo. Both of these guys started 25th and 26th. They're racing each other right now for 13th and 14th. So great move so far to get these guys winners already on the season up further in the field, and now they're going to be working on Joseph DuPont. But right behind them, it is really side-by-side racing for a few rows.
Got some great tight racing here, and still seeing that
yellow flag.
caution out on the track.
I believe that's a wall. Oh, wow, that was a little scary there when those tires get to spinning. Oh boy, so let's go ahead now and check out exactly what happened to Walt here. It looked like a single car spin potentially, but we'll find out exactly what happened on this Beer Street Journal Rec replay.
And if it is just a single truck incident, that is pretty amazing, and how tight this field was. You see him on the outside, Don Milkowitz in the 33 as they get towards turn 1. And looks like Lepicki thought he had a little bit more room there on the inside than he did. And Milkowitz kind of was sitting there at the same spot that he was going for. Nothing too egregious there, just kind of going for the same piece of real estate. And it's kind of what we were talking about here earlier. You don't really, around Michigan, once you get worn tires, don't really want to pin it. Ooh, a little bit of net code too. But you don't want to pin it down to that yellow line. It's just so unstable there on the bottom at times. And so that, oh wow, close call there. I think that was Michael Madden.
Yeah, I'm
barely
trying to
squeezed
get
by that.
Trying to get our producer to give us an onboard of Michael Madden there. That was a scary moment for that 15 truck, as he's already used that fast repair. So man, this is gonna make you tense up a little bit right here.
This is that split-second decision. Where's this truck going to go? Oh, wow. He barely missed him there. And it wasn't even so much that Lepicki started coming back up. It was just kind of cutting that close. I think Madden thought he was going to be going to the inside a little bit farther, continuing that momentum down the racetrack and down the banking, but still narrowly getting by. And we got pit stops here for the first time tonight for our leaders with about 50 laps to go, and that's pretty important, as we got about 25 laps on the fuel tank each run here, so this might set us up for one more stop to the finish.
Yeah, Lucas going to have to go all the way down pit road, as he started second here tonight, so he'll have that second pit stall. Dave Hughes Jr., who qualified first, running fourth right now. Oh, and Lucas, overshoots his stall.
Gonna have to make sure that there's no damage to the left front, and if there is, the thing he'll have to worry about, since he's been out in front this entire time, there's very unlikely that he's had damage. May not have thought to deselect. Oh, we got into it again. And when you kind of run out front, you don't really think about, all right, let me turn off the damage, the fast repair. And if there's any little bit of damage, just take a second on it. And no damage there from at least the second wall impact. And it didn't look like there was any fast repair done after that first impact to the wall. Hopefully that's the case, but that is a sketchy moment for one of the early leaders here today.
Yeah, the damage done is that he just lost a spot to his teammate Sean Jensick, but Jonathan Byer opting to stay out. He is on 12-lap old tires. He was involved in that first wreck of the night, coming down to get that fast repair, and I'm sure 4 tires as well. But he is going to be on a completely different cycle than these guys. And if this thing does stay green for the whole race, that is really going to hurt the 66 chances tonight.
Yeah, he is, at this point, if it stays green, he is locked into having to make 2 more stops. Everybody else might be able, if they can save a little bit, might be able to make it on 1 more. So Byer, and I've said this before, after the past few races, when they started winning, and it was a lot on pit strategy, I'm not going to question any pit decision from Jonathan Byer anymore, but that is a tough one there, because if this race stays green, he is in big trouble.
That's a good point. We've doubted his pit strategy before, and it worked out, so, anything can happen, and this man knows better than most what to do as far as that goes. So we'll see if he is got the strategy to win this thing now, finds that 66 out in front. This could also be a way to set him up in the playoffs as well, to be grabbing bonus points, as he's already locked in and is really just racing for bonus points and wins at this point. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up the same thing, that he can do something wild like this that goes completely atypical from everybody else, because he doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. He's already locked in. He already picked up a bonus point now for leading a lap because of this strategy. That's going to stick with him in round 1. So this is it's a wild idea compared to what we're seeing from everybody else, but he's got nothing to worry about at this point. He's already set.
Yeah, so he probably knows that he is going to be falling back here quickly, as all these drivers have fresh tires. So definitely probably just setting himself up for once the playoff starts. And that just goes to show how smart a driver Jonathan Byer is. So we'll see how long he's able to keep that 66 Toyota Tundra out in front. But he doesn't have his teammates too far behind him. Maybe they can get a Jonathan Byer, all 5 trucks in the top 5 like they keep aiming for.
They've gotten close. They're at 1, 2, 3 sweep, 1, 2, 3, 4 sweep. They're still looking for that 5. And Jonathan Byer going to take off here nice and clean on those slightly worn tires here on this restart. But he's going to jump out to about a 1 or 2 truck length advantage over Sean Jensick as they get to turn 1. But there's the fresh tires as Jensick can really just drive that in deep into 1.
Yeah, so he's going to get the pass here coming out of 2. He's going to be clear. Jonathan Byer, Lucas Lyons going to be trying to come with him. But Lucas Lyons trying to pick up that spot that he lost after overshooting his pit stop, finds himself in 2nd place now. Blair Holloman still in 3rd. These guys pulling away from the rest of the field.
And Blair Holloman continuing a strong run. He's got all that momentum from Watkins Glen last week, and he has worked his way all the way up from 13th to 3rd and looking real racy tonight. A lot of good speed in that 06.
Yeah, so Dave Hughes Jr. going to be trying to get by Jonathan Byer here next. Byer holding into that 4th position after that first lap. Might pay off for the 66 regardless. You know, he was running way back in the pack after having to come get that truck fixed. Finds himself up here running with the leaders. Now Dave Hughes Jr. looking to the inside of the 66, potentially picking up that 4th place spot after this set of turns.
This is a real interesting point in the race. We've had a couple of early cautions here in the first 12 laps, and there's a couple different ways you can see it. It's either the race is going to start spreading itself out, and we're going to get a nice long green flag run, which isn't over. That's just it. There's Lyons, Blair Holloman, Mike Mosby, more involved.
Boy.
I think that was Bobby Anderson, Kyle Wimble involved. This is a melee.
Is a big wreck.
Whoa. Well, we said it was going to be like a super speedway, and that was the big one without absolutely going hyperbole on that one. That was a massive wreck into turn 1. We had it live. We'll see it again in the Beer Street Journal Wreck Replay.
I don't want to watch it again. That was chaotic. There was just nowhere to go for a lot of these guys. And a lot of the guys out there not really hitting the brakes either. Man, it's just Lucas Lyons going for a ride here.
Oof. Yeah, Lucas Lyons was on the brakes for sure as once he started going around, but I don't think anybody else got the memo, and they just started piling in one after another. You see Bobby Anderson, you see the 42 of Kevin Winker get caught up, the 12 of Cody Riggs, the 17, the 71. My goodness, just name a number, and they were involved in this one. Saw Josh Mueller, Joseph DuPont, a lot of guys. And what this is going to do more than anything, it's not just going to shake up this race. The entire playoff picture might have just been shaken up.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I knew Lucas was hitting the brakes. I've been saying everybody else coming. They were days of thunder trying to get through that thing. But, yeah, we just saw it right there. Lucas Lyons having to take a tow was only 28 points above the cut. So he could not afford a bad race here. And oh, by the way, we forgot to mention next week, the last race before we get to the playoffs, you can't drop that race. So that just adds to the pressure even more for these guys.
Oh, yeah, and that is a huge deal, especially if you get caught up in that one and you're already in that lap 2, lap 3 accident that we had the first caution of the night and picking up damage in that one, possibly using a fast repair. If you got caught up in this one, your night is done. And if you got to take that bad momentum going into Vegas for the finale at a track that's going to run somewhat similar with these trucks, that's a lot of just a lot of worry that you're going to have here for the next week.
Yeah, I do not envy those guys that are going to be sitting from about 10th through 15th because it is going to be really, really tight on the cut line. This is going to shake things up big time, so we'll have to look forward to seeing just how badly it does shake them up. But as of right now, Sean Jensick, Blair Holloman both opted to stay out. Dave Hughes Jr. now up to 3rd after Byer comes down pit road. Jacob Zala up to 4th. Landon Cardulo in 5th. Corey Knight in 6th. Bruce Amson in 7th place. Josh Mueller in 8th. Dom Milkowicz 9th. And Sean Kosher, who needs a great run, up to 10th. So this is really shaking up our standings here tonight as well.
We got 6 drivers inside the top 10, top 11 that started outside of the top 20 in this race and just capitalizing on these mistakes. And look at how clean that 90 truck is right now. No damage there, at least on the front and the left and the rear of that truck. So that's how you move up in the race like this. And, you know, we were kind of talking about a couple weeks ago that Talladega got pushed back into the playoff for these guys, and they kind of avoided that landmine going in towards the playoffs. But here it is at Michigan, of all places. With about 20 trucks caught up in that last accident, and a lot of guys having to use that first fast repair, and a lot of guys still having to kind of wait on repairs because they already used that on that first caution. So this race just got real interesting for a lot of guys.
Yeah, and a few guys packing up their things and going home as well, looking like Travis Trevelyan calling it a night, which will end his playoff hopes as he was just inside the ability to still make it. So a tough night for the 71. But yeah, it is going to get even more crazy as we tick off the laps out here and some newcomers up to the top 10. We always love seeing Corey Knight run up towards the front, so really cool seeing that 90 truck up here in the top 10. But it's going to have some work to do if he wants to get that thing out in front.
Before we go to green, one thing I do want to kind of catch up on is the guys that are still under repair, and some starting to roll again, but Cody Riggs, Lucas Lyons, Joseph DuPont, Kevin Winker, Matthew Johnson, who was having a great run, Danny Setzer, Travis Trevelyan, and Stan Carnathan, all going to be multiple laps down after that last incident.
Yeah, so they're going to need a little help to get those laps back and be in contention to win this thing. Man, we are using these fast repairs up.
And we're just now a third of the way into this race. There's still 43 laps to go when we take the green here this time by. A lot of time left, though there's going to be a lot more space out there with several cars already being out.
I think Dave has passed his blinking on to me for some reason. My computer's starting to freeze up a little bit too, but the pace car is off. Sean Jensick will have the restart here. Blair Holloman to his outside. See how good a jump this 29 can get on the field. Gets a really good jump, and he is going to pull away from these guys quickly.
That is a huge jump from Sean Jensick, and I think there was a little bit of it being aided by the 16 of Dave Fuchs Jr. kind of blinking there at a bad time, and I don't think that Landon Cardulo or anybody that was right behind him really knew what to do because he blinked, and you just don't know where that truck is. And so you kind of get a little gun-shy about trying to make that big jump. But speaking of a big move, Blair Holloman and Jacob Zala in the 25 making a big run down the back straightaways. They had a ton of momentum coming off the outside. Yeah,
Blair is going to try and clear Dave on this turn. Slides up a little bit. Going to slow up that 06 and give it a 3-wide drag race down the front stretch with Jacob Zala in the middle. Looks like Landon Cardulo pushing the 25. So the 25 going to be up to second. That drops Blair Holloman back to fifth after that little bobble coming out of fourth. We got somebody spinning back here in turn one. Oh, big wreck here.
And caution has just now come out as you see a couple of trucks there recovering from it. So we see Cody Riggs on pit road. Looks like he was involved in that one as well. We'll take a better look at it. The Beer Street Journal Rec Replay, which once again, please drink responsibly. As we check out our fourth caution of the night. Cody Riggs in the 12. It's already going on in front of him. And it's Matt Johnson in the 1. He got turned, and then as he was trying to save it, just hooked it straight back up the racetrack. And Troy Techmeyer and Cody Riggs had nowhere to go. I wasn't sure who that was, but yeah, they were going about 4 wide in turn 2. And it's a wide track, but that's asking a lot. And we see heavy damage to the 32, the 1, the 12. And there was somebody else that got caught in. I couldn't quite make...
Looked like it was James Kerr on the apron there getting into Cody Riggs.
And we'll follow that 75 truck, and it does look like you are right on that. Oh, he blinked out. And we lose that. But we get a good look at Barney the Flag Man. Oh, there it is. And heavy contact there for the 75 of James Kerr. And that's one of those guys not far ahead of that cut line either.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how this whole thing is shaping up it's all the guys that are really battling to seal their spots in the playoffs, and it's just the guys trying to battle their way in. So it is going to make things even crazier once we get out to Las Vegas next week.
They are feeling the pressure for sure, and if the pressure is heavy this week, just imagine what it's going to be next week, because this tight points race around that cut line, we were seeing a handful of drivers within 4 or 5 points of each other surrounding that 15th, 16th position where that line is. It's going to be even tighter. I think we might see 8, 10 drivers all within about single-digit points of being in or out of the playoff because of how this race is playing out. So many guys having trouble. It's going to be just a wild one in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh boy, it is going to be cool though once we get out there and settle it to see who our top 15 drivers will be, and also finalize our team standings as well for the team championship playoff that we will have for the first time ever here in SRN. So it is going to be an exciting week next week, but we still got some business to sort out here tonight for the Great Lakes 130. Sean Jensick still in first, but Jacob Zala and Landon Cardulo coming out of nowhere. Both these guys started 25th, 26th. Corey Knight started 32nd. Josh Mueller started 21st. So all these guys just coming out of nowhere to get in the top 5. So that just shows they have speed.
It shows they have speed, also shows they have patience, and that's the big thing tonight with all these accidents and all these just heavy amounts of trucks being involved in each one of them. Just being patient, just knowing, hey, let me get on the brake here, let me kind of sit back, let me not be so aggressive. That's gone a long, long way here in this race, and just those guys just kind of sitting back. If you're not out in front like Sean Jensick, just kind of relaxing back there and not pushing it too far. And that's really worked out for those guys, and we're seeing the top 10 made up of only 2 drivers that started inside the top 10, and that being Sean Jensick and Dave Fuge Jr. Everybody else started outside of it, and 6 or 7 of the top 10 started outside of the top 20.
Come on, man. I had that thing locked and loaded, and you just took my stat from me in broad daylight. No,
well, I can't see you, so...
No, it is wild right now just to see everybody's starting position here in the top 10. This field has just been completely flipped on its head, and it is an awesome race so far. I just wish we could get a good green flag run here at Michigan, because like you said, it's like that super speedway racing where it's going to be tight racing all the time, and these guys are just flying up here towards the front. I'm excited to see them sort it out and see where we'll have, or who will have finish and where. But, man, we're going to get back to green here shortly as the pace car lights are off, and we are gridding up once again.
And I'm excited as well about tonight, but in the back of my head, I'm kind of thinking about tomorrow already, seeing how the racing's going tonight. It's going to be a little different with the Xfinity cars and how they handle, but if tonight is any indication, and oh, by the way, that is the regular season finale tomorrow night and Sunday night. Well, this might be interesting in the next couple of races for us.
Yeah, we've been harping on it all night about the drivers that are inside the cut. I can speak on it and say it is a totally different feeling going into tomorrow than what I'm sure you're feeling.
Well, yeah, a little bit of nerves, though. I'm already pretty well out of it, so I'm still nervous, though. And speaking of nerves, let's get it re-racked and back green. Sean Jensick going to take him down into turn 1 as he takes the green flag. Good run from Landon Cardulo on the inside. He's going to get just past Jacob Zala for the second position going into 1.
Yeah, that inside line really is showing to be dominant here on restarts. Jacob Zala falling back to third as Landon Cardulo is able to clear him. But Sean Jensick, I think, has really been studying these restarts and figuring out when to start, where, what time, since we've had a few of them now. And it's really showing out there on track as he's getting good 3 to 4 car lengths on the leader heading into 1. As Sean Kozier making a move to the inside of Bruce Amston. Kozier up to 6th place now.
And not too long before that, I was getting real curious at seeing that snake draft that we were seeing as Landon Cardulo with a big run to the inside. He's going to get the nose out in front and lead that lap, so he'll pick up a bonus point, which will be good for him going into round 1 of the playoffs in a couple of weeks. But let's see if he can make that stick and clear the 29 of Sean Jensick, and he does pretty easily as he had a good push from Jacob Zala just behind him in the 25. Zala going to slide back into 3rd, but Jensick want to take that lead right back as he gets the inside line going into 3.
Look, all I'm saying is if Landon Cardulo is going to be running up here in the top 3, he better have some Ghirardelli chocolate for me tonight.
Well, the more he keeps winning, the more he can buy, at least, if they ain't giving it to him. So he's having a great run here these past few weeks. He's already locked in. The pressure is off for him as he is running up front just for the wins and the bonus points, as he's going to retake that lead in 1 and 2. And it's really a battle of who can get the inside line in these turns. Oh, contact to the 29 is around. Zala is around as well. Zala will keep it together, but it's going to be the Jensic hard into the inside wall, and we are still green as that filed off the track.
I'm not sure Jensic hit the wall there.
Wow,
I think he might have been able to save it.
I am not sure how he did that, because he was going head on into it. What a job from Sean Jensic to keep it off the inside wall. As we check back in, second place is now Josh Mueller, Corey Knight in the third, Sean Kozier fourth, as they capitalize on that incident.
Man, it's great seeing some new names running up here with our leaders. Sean Kozier trying to make a pass on the outside of Corey Knight now to get up to third.
And great side-by-side racing. Corey's going to have the little bit of a push and some help there from Jacob Zala on the inside. He's going to pick up a little bit of that draft from Josh Mueller in front of him as well. But he might get too big of a run there possibly and have to pin it down, and that could still give that momentum to Sean Kozier in the 97 up on the top side as you see him getting that big run down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Jacob Zala opting to go. Wow, they get really tight there between Corey Knight and Sean Kozier, but keep it going straight. Jacob Zala just along for the ride right now, trying to pick which lane's faster. It looks like Sean Kozier going to possibly be able to clear Corey Knight this time as he gets really close to the wall and exit, trying to get everything he can out of that 97 Ford.
Man, we got some close racing. 3 wide going into 3 with Jacob Zala trying to thread the needle, and he does. He got a little bit of help there as Corey Knight kind of backed out as he saw that was going to get way too tight for him, and then we still got about half this race remaining. So he kind of gave up that little bit of a spot there, thinking for the long game, as it continues to be Cardulo first, Mueller second, and now still side-by-side, Kozier and Zala into one, and a little bit of contact again, and the 97 of Sean Kozier saves it in front of everybody.
And here comes Sean Jensic, who we just saw get into a scuffle with Jacob Zala not too long ago. He's picking up all sorts of positions off of that.
Holy cow, this has been incredible since this restart. We're still seeing 3 wide going into 3.
Oh, yeah, that's completely stacked up the field now, and they were 3 wide, about 3 rows deep back there not too long ago. AJ Pritchett now up to third. We got a carousel of new drivers that we aren't used to seeing run up towards the front. Get up here and contend with Landon Cardulo for this W here as we we're actually past the halfway point now.
Man, and why not? We just saw Talladega in real life, 3 first-time winners this past weekend in their respective series. Why not possibly have another one here for SRN tonight? Keep up with that theme, as it's already somebody with a win leading the way, but several possible first-time winners trying to chase him down. And a name we haven't even mentioned tonight, Bo Tiffany, sitting there as he's moving his way back up into the top 10 after getting caught up in some of that early trouble.
Yeah, just quietly creeping back up into the top 10. But that's been one of the best things about SRN this season is all of the first-time winners, man. And that's the coolest thing, is seeing people and being able to interview these drivers after getting their first win and just hearing what their thoughts are. It's really cool.
We've seen, 12 different winners in the Xfinity series. We've seen about 7 or 8 different here in the Truck series, I think it is. So we've seen a lot of different winners here, as it has just been ultra competitive in the Trucks and the Xfinity side. Cup, we've had a couple people kind of running away with some of those wins. But these 2 other series, man, they have just been killing it with several drivers showing that they got the ability to go out there and win races.
Yeah, Bo Tiffany now picking up 8th off Sean Kozier after his near spin. And a heck of a save. A heck of a save for staying inside the top 10, too, in that 97 truck. But back up front, it is getting tighter and tighter between Cardulo, Mueller, and Pritchett for that lead.
I was a little distracted keeping an eye back in about 11th. We had 4 wide going out of turn 2 as they're still going super wide around here. Andrew Harris in the middle of it. And they're going to kind of sort that out a little bit and get to 2 by 2. Maybe a little hint of 3 wide coming up as Kyle Wimble was looking at the middle there and had that run kind of stifled. But, man, this mid-pack has just been absolutely chaotic here for the past 5 laps or so.
Yeah, keep in mind you're going to have some lap trucks in there as well trying to get up to the front, maybe get their lap back the hard way. You see Lucas Lyons right there battling with all these guys. So there is a lot of disparity amongst this field right now. A lot of different trucks on different strategies out here as we see Kyle Wimble and Jason Crackey getting really close.
And one truck we kind of just saw a little bit there on the right side of the screen is that 98 in the white and yellow. That's Rob Yost, 2 points outside of the cut line entering this race, and he's still got that truck looking pretty clean. Maybe has used a fast repair, but if not, that's a great position to be in, sitting in 17th position, but still picking up spots here as he's been working his way through the field after starting 33rd.
Yeah, he's got to be really careful, though. He is in the danger zone right now, and he needs the best races he can get these last 2 weeks. I wouldn't be comfortable if I was him unless I was inside that top 10. So he's got a few trucks to pass here to get himself in that position. And right now, this is the biggest battle on the track amongst like 15 drivers, it seems, out there. They're on top of one another, so he's got to be very careful.
This has just been absolutely incredible, and you see the disparity, the parity in the lines there, as we got that outside line running all the way up near the wall, the inside line trying to go at least on that first seam, if not on the yellow line, and that you can see that outside line though starting to get more and more momentum as we continue on in this run, as those tires start to wear out, and those inside line trucks really starting to kind of wash up a little bit as they try to hold on to the pace. But once they try to do that, they kind of just start sliding up the racetrack just that little bit and have to crack out of the throttle.
Well, Landon Cardullo and Josh Mueller starting to pull away a little bit from AJ Pritchett, who's starting to fall back to those guys from about 4th on back to 7th or 8th. Sean Jensick reeling that 14 in. But yeah, these two guys out in front starting to separate themselves from the rest of the field.
And this is exactly what they need. They, stay away from all that side-by-side racing. You can run the lines that you want. And the double benefit of it is, yes, you're going to be out in front, but you're also being able to be real gentle on the tires. You're not having to pin it down to the inside or really abuse them on the high side of the track and really trying to get that side-by-side passing going and being really aggressive out there. They can kind of coast, and it's just going to make them even stronger as this run continues.
Side-by-side racing here between Sean Jensick and Mike Mosby here. This is for 4th, I believe. Yep. So they're going to head down drag racing into turn 1. I think the position on the track that is desired is going to be in Sean Jensick's hands up there on the high line. He's going to try and keep that truck. I think Mike Mosby might be able to clear him here.
And there's that crossover there. You see that all that momentum that was built up on that outside line by just not having to slide it up the track and kind of scrub off that speed, and then just losing that little bit of time by having that extra distance that has to be covered. You can kind of build up that momentum on the outside, and you see that big run that he got down the backstretch, and now it's going to be replicated here by Mosby. Oh, wow, that was close. As Jensick closing the door on the inside for Mosby, and we got that lap truck of Stan Carnathan there. It's going to kind of break up that tight racing that we saw just that little bit. And Jensick going to kind of take that middle line here around the track. Mosby going to be right behind him with it.
Yeah, Sean's got to be a little smarter here and just know that that guy behind him has about 7 or 8 laps newer tires, so he is faster right now. But Sean Jensick not wanting to give that position up. Let's go back a little bit further on. Back in the pack, Jonathan Byer in 15th. So moving on up after a rough start to the race. Got on a bit of a different pit strategy here. We aren't exactly sure on the full fuel run. He pitted not too long ago. I believe he is, I'm trying to see. He pitted on lap 20, so he's got a little bit of fresher laps or fresher tires as well as more fuel in that truck. Don't think he can make it to the end, as I think we're going to start seeing pit stops here soon. Yep. I think someone's going to have to take that risk.
Yeah, you're going to start seeing pit stops here probably in the next couple laps, because you can go about 25, 26 laps, give or take a little bit there, depending how aggressive you are on the throttle. And it sounds like pit stop's about to happen here. And it's also good in another way, because you can go that 25 laps. We're inside that window that you can make it to the end. And here we go. Sean Jensick making his pit. Josh Mueller making a pit stop. The 14 of AJ Pritchett coming in as well. So several leaders making their way down pit road.
Man, I love when these guys make me look smart. Sean Kozier as well coming down. And looks like a few others as well. But Landon Cardullo opting to stay out. He's got 3.5 seconds on Mike Mosby and Andrew Harris, who we mentioned. Both of these guys have about 6 or 7 lap fresher tires than our leaders, so they could stay out a little bit longer. But I'm not sure you want to and lose all that time. I'm sure we'll see Landon come down this time possibly. Yep, here he comes.
Yeah, definitely looks like it as he's going to make his way. So race leader onto pit road. And little sideways there, locking it up as he makes sure he gets to that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit down pit road. And that's going to give the lead to Andrew Harris, who's going to get the lead for the first time in quite some time here in SRN. And this is a good sight for him as he's building that momentum once again. But he's going to have about a half second over Kyle Wimble, who definitely is one of those guys that wants to pick up a bonus point as much as he can to help out his odds in getting into the top or staying inside the top 15 as we get to the playoffs. And look at all the traffic coming off pit road right in front of the race leader.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about this pit road as well. It's such a big track. You are going to lose a lap, but it's not going to be by much, so it's not going to take you that long to get that lap back and get you out of that danger of possibly a caution coming out. But yeah, Andrew Harris still opting to stay out, a proven winner from last season, won a few races here in SRN, has kind of had a rough season here in season 3, but you know, this is a great rebound to see him running this good this late in the season.
A real good showing for him tonight. And he's been up in the top 10 for much of this race, so it's not just the pit window and the pit cycling that's got him out there. And it does sound like he might be coming in here this time. Heard him kind of pop up on the driver chat. So it looks like the 87 race leader once again going to be pitting in, and Kyle Wimble going to hang on to it. And he's going to possibly lead that lap if he can hold off his teammate Jack Johnson in the 35.
Yeah, and these bonus points, I'm telling you, will be huge when it comes to that first round of the playoffs. So I think this has been kind of on the agenda for these JBR drivers who find themselves a little bit higher up in the standings. I think a lot of them wanted to get out there and claim this bonus point that was just hanging out there. And I believe we'll see Kyle Wimble come down this time and maybe see Jack Johnson stay out to lead a lap if he's able to do so.
I think that's exactly what we're going to see. And Jack Johnson on the same pit strategy. They last came in on lap number 21. And with that caution, he can stretch it out another couple laps. So that is what's going to happen. Kyle Wimble to pit road. Jack Johnson going to stay out, and he's going to pick up the bonus point for the lap lead.
Yeah, huge points earned here. This is going to go far, I'm telling you, like I just said, in the first round of the playoffs. So Jack Johnson now out in front. Michael York now second. Brad Herman, who's on a little bit of a different pit strategy after being involved in an early incident, finds himself up to third.
And you say it's big in the first round of the playoffs. It's big just to get to the first round of the playoffs as well, because we saw so many drivers last season across all 3 series being a point, 2 points, 3 points away from getting into the playoff or making it by that small of a margin. Every single point is going to matter in making it. And JBR with a great strategy. And oh, wow, we almost had a little bit of trouble there as Blair Holloman and Dave Fuchs Jr. coming in pretty hot on the pit road and nearly had a collision there, getting slowed up off of turn 4. But Michael York going to pick up the lead, and he's another one of those guys that needs as many points as he can get, and he's going to get that bonus point for leading a lap now.
Yeah, so all kinds of lead changes on this cycle of pit stops, but man, it is getting dicey out here as there are trucks all over this backstretch. And Michael York, I'm sure, can see that. It's going to have to be really careful getting on the pits this time.
Seeing a few more guys coming in, and oh, that's going to get tight there as Michael York trying to get it slow. Oh, wow, no, he was just a little bit slower on the older tires. Sorry about that. And the pace difference caught me off guard, but I also saw that Brad Herman was coming in and Lucas Lyons making the stop, Jonathan Byer making the stop, so several guys still making those pit stops. Michael York staying out and hoping that a caution comes out here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, York, Yonkman, Herman, and Byer, all drivers that still have not pitted. I believe Byer is on pit road. We just saw him, so Herman's on pit road as well. So Michael York and Brad Yonkman, the only two that have yet to pit. Could it be this time for the 5 as he can't give up much more time? There's not going to be as much time left in this race to get those spots back, Brandon.
No, I mean, that's kind of the double-edged sword on it. You stay out there hoping that you get a caution, and in the process you do lose a lot of positions. But the other thing is you kind of don't have as much time to make up ground when you have the fresher tires because you're cutting those laps so short. So there's a whole strategy to it, and it's got to be, where do you feel in that moment? Do you think that it's worth staying out there, picking up that bonus point, and possibly losing positions in the back end? Or do you just want to forego the bonus point for leading a lap and pit with everybody else and try to hang on to as many positions as you can? real tough, and it's just gambling, hoping for that caution to come out at the right time.
Yeah, we just saw Jonathan Byer and Lucas Lyons come out in front of our leader as Brad Yonkman, I'm not sure if he missed the pits that time, looked really slow off of 4 like he was going to attempt it. Hearing he might have a few more laps in the tank, but he looked really slow off of 4 that time by, but we'll see if he comes in this time as the time difference between these trucks with fresh tires and Brad is monumental at this point. He ran a 41.6 the last time, and then there's other drivers out there running 40 flats, 39.9. So he's losing over a second and a half each lap.
And definitely coming in this time. I wouldn't be surprised if you were right on that, where it looked like he was trying to come in and maybe just kind of lost the momentum or just kind of second thought it and stayed out on the last second. But Brad Yonkman to pit road, and that's going to cycle it all the way back around to Landon Cardulo, who's a half lap behind Yonkman, but he's going to be 3 seconds clear of A.J. Pritchett. Sean Jensick going to be right behind Pritchett, and then right behind him is just going to be a gaggle of trucks. Everybody all packed in for that race for what's now second place.
So, Brandon, what do you say we come up with a nickname for Landon Cardulo and call him the Candyman from now on?
I don't mind that at all, though I think Kyle Busch might have a little bit of a claim on that
one. Well, Landon might have just earned himself a nickname just because I keep seeing that chocolate on the side of his truck, and he's doing what he needs to do, putting that thing out in front. And it is working for Girardelli, as all I can think about is candy. So now he is the Candyman.
It works. As speaking of what works, the inside line might be working here for Josh Mueller as he takes a look to the inside of Sean Jensick out of turn 4. Jensick going to have that momentum, but it might be countered as Pritchett going to be down to the inside as well. So that might give Mueller that little bit of momentum that he needs to hold off this attack to the outside as they go into turn 1. And this is still great side-by-side racing for third.
Yeah, Landon Cardulo loving what he's seeing as he's got that gap just growing because these guys are racing so hard with one another. Coming to the stripe this time by will be 11 laps to go, but these guys side by side down the whole backstretch through the turns as well. But Josh Mueller might be able to clear that 29 this time. We'll see him slide up in front of Sean Jensick here and see if Sean does that little crossover where he gets to the bottom.
He's trying to build that momentum and pick a side. He's going to pick the inside this time to try to get around Mueller. And he's going to get that nose out in front. It's going to be a question of how good is the momentum going to be for the 26, and it might not even matter there on the outside, but he's going to try that crossover once again down the back straightaways. They're still going to be side by side.
Throwing haymakers back here for third. Slide job city here at Michigan Speedway. A.J. Pritchett now liking what he's seeing because he might be able to put a little bit of a gap on these guys and secure second. I don't think anybody is going to catch Landon unless we see a caution here. So this is going to be the best battle on the track as we speak.
But I will say that these two running side by side like they are, they need to keep their eyes on the mirror a little bit because Andrew Harris is going to have the freshest tires out of anybody inside the top 10 at this point, and he's going to be behind them in 5th. Only about 2 3/4 seconds behind with the fresh tires, about 4 laps fresher than these guys, so that might come in handy here in the final 10 laps.
Yeah, then you got Kyle Wimble and Jack Johnson back there with about 4 lap fresher tires as well. I don't think they're going to have the time, but I think these guys are going to be picking up some spots and potentially find themselves finishing in the top 5 maybe. So we'll have to keep an eye on them as they were one of the last guys to come in for this last round of pit stops. But Landon Cardulo just extending that lead each lap up to 3.5 seconds for the Candyman.
It's gonna be a thing now.
Yep.
As Cardulo continuing to lead. The funny thing for him is at this point it's just building up bonus points for the playoffs. He's already locked into the playoff and still putting on this big performance, just dominating the second half of this race and just really being the class of the field once we got out of all the cautions that we saw early on. And that 13 truck looking to be a serious contender as we get towards the championship.
Yeah, and I mean, he could be racking up all of the bonus points tonight. You know, he's led a lap. He has a clean-looking truck. Not sure if he's made contact with anybody out there. Could possibly have the fastest lap as well. Do we do that?
No, so
no bonus point for the fastest lap. But still, he's led the most laps and has led a lap and has a clean truck, so could be racking up 3 bonus points, which we keep mentioning is huge for these playoff drivers.
and the 3 bonus points for winning the race as well on the line for that 13 truck. So he might be picking up 6 bonus points in this race should he hang on for these final now 7 laps to go around Michigan. And that would go a long way, and that's going to hold in the first round. But you still look at, there's some tricky tracks inside that first round of the playoffs for these truck guys. So there's always that opportunity that you might need every single point should a mistake happen on the track. I mean, you're looking at tracks like Indy out there where everything can kind of just bunch up there on you, and one small slip and you're in the wall. So that's something that you really want to be building that cushion as best as you can.
Just want to give a shout out. We mentioned him already. Andrew Harris up 30 positions, up to 5th now. Could be catching these drivers like you mentioned not too long ago. Only a second and a half back of Jensic, so he could be getting his nose in for the mix for a top 2 here tonight. If he just can get that truck ever so slightly faster, he's got 6 laps to get up there.
He just needs to pick up like 6 or 7 tenths of a second, and then he's going to really start feeling the effect of the draft in front of him, and that's going to help him out a whole lot. Right now, he's kind of on an island by himself, not getting a whole lot of assistance from any of the air that's going on, as we got Sean Jensic now getting side by side with Josh Mueller again. That's something Andrew Harris is going to want to see and try to pick up some extra spots, as that's going to slow down both the 26 and the 29 that little bit.
Yeah, we're probably going to see them going side by side down the front stretch here too, as we see Sean Jensic pull to the inside of Josh Mueller getting the draft from the 14, but Josh Mueller getting a run on the 14. So we're going to have side-by-side action heading into turn 1. AJ Pritchett's clear. Sean's going to pull off another slide job like he did not too long ago on Mueller. Mueller really going to start to get tired of that move here shortly, as he is right on the bumper of the 29.
That was super close, and if you're Sean Jensic, you're thinking, all right, I don't know if I want to be putting myself in that position to possibly wreck when all I got to do is finish 32nd or better tonight. It should be all right, but yeah, that was a little bit dicey there, but it's going to work as he's going to move into 2nd, Mueller to 3rd, Pritchett to 4th, and here comes Andrew Harris now just 6 tenths back.
Well, the good news for Jensic at this point is he's virtually locked in, as I believe there's only 31 cars or trucks out there on the track. So he is locked in, but still wouldn't want to be making too many enemies before playoff time. And, you know, one slide job's fine, but you keep doing it to the same driver. Racers don't forget.
They don't forget, and sometimes that memory's real short, and it doesn't take many times before you wind up in the wall there if you try it one too many times. But Mueller's still going to be hanging on to that 3rd position for a little bit longer, possibly, as AJ Pritchett to the inside, and here comes that 87, Andrew Harris, with a whole lot of momentum behind him.
Yeah, he is coming quickly here. He is looking to finish in the top 2, as he can see all these drivers in plenty of time. It only says 3 on the board to go. But like we said, this is a big 2-mile oval. He's got plenty of time to make these moves, as he's already up to 3rd, 4th, easily over Pritchett. Now has his sights set on Mueller.
And he just doesn't have to worry so much about what line he needs to take. And if they're going to give him the outside, he'll gladly take it, actually. Just carry that little extra momentum. But he's got the ability that they don't. And just having that little extra grip on the inside. And that's going to go a long way with those 4 lap fresher tires. As you see that big momentum charge off the outside. And he's going to be right on the back bumper of Josh Mueller here pretty soon, possibly out of turn 2.
Yeah, he's going to try and set himself up here on the exit to get a big run down the backstretch. I'm just now seeing that James Kerr must have had an issue with his connection and disconnected and reconnected. We got a spin on the backstretch.
Oh,
Kyle Wimble.
Caution. Oh my, caution right before we come to 2 laps to go, and Kyle Wimble against the inside wall. Gonna get it turned around, and that's going to be a big hit in points for Wimble.
Not what he wanted, and by any means, not what his teammate Landon Cardullo wanted either, as he was smooth sailing to his 2nd career win here in SRN. We're going to go back and see exactly what happened on the Beer Street Journal Rec replay.
It's been a while since we've had one of these, so another chance to remind people to please drink responsibly. And it's his teammate, Jack Johnson, got a big run out of turn 2 and made that contact with the 3 truck of Kyle Wimble, and I just don't think he knew how much of a run he had, and just making that contact, pushing up. And it looks like Mike Mosby got into the wall, and that made Wimble check up just that little bit, maybe just back out of the throttle. And I think it was just a quicker reaction than we saw from Johnson in the 35.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Kyle Wimble here, as he was doing everything in his power to stay out of Mosby. But then his teammate just gets into him, not expecting that big checkup. But good for Kyle Wimble, though, keeping it off the wall, because I believe he has already used his fast repair tonight and could not afford any more damage. Now, yes, only 2 laps to get it sorted out, but still in contention to move up in the field.
Oh, pit
stops. We have leaders pitting, yeah.
So Landon Cardulo going to give up that lead, and there's going to be a whole lot of people coming in pit road. I think everybody's really going to follow him. And Josh Mueller, Andrew Harris, Mike Mosby are the ones out in front that are going to stay on track. Brad Herman also staying out in the 4th position now. And in 2 laps around here, that is still a gamble. It's not going to be one of those deals where you can kind of build up that momentum and hold people off, because these turns, you're going to lose a lot of speed. But if they're stacking up enough people, we might not see a truck like Landon Cardulo get back up to the front.
And I'm going to call it how I see it right now. This could be a playoff qualifying move by Brad Herman. Staying out, he was mired back in about 18th after getting involved in an early accident, having to work his way through the field. Really couldn't get through the field as well as he wanted to, but now finds himself up in 4th. That is a big difference. That's a lot of points that he wasn't going to have tonight, and this could be a move that gets him into the playoffs.
Absolutely is, and that's one of those home run cuts you have to take when you're getting pretty close to being out of the playoffs with just a couple races left. He comes into this race 11 points out, and so making up that big ground, even if he winds up losing half of them, he's still picking up 5-6 points, and that's going to go a long, long way, especially in a race that's played out like this one.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to look at those drivers that are sitting there on the cut line. Rob Yost now finds himself back in 19th. That is going to cover that gap to potentially move Brad Herman ahead of Rob Yost. So we could be seeing a whole lot of flip-flopping in the standings just from this caution alone.
And we still have the thought of, there's a lot of guys that have had trouble tonight. So these home run cuts are super aggressive trying to make these big jumps, because a lot of guys inside the top 15 or just outside have been caught up in these accidents, are sitting a lap down, are sitting in the back with damage. So there's a big swing that we're seeing from guys like Brad Herman making a move like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Bobby Anderson sitting back there in 16th. He's your 15th place driver in the standings. Kevin Winker is running 30th right now. He was only 5 points above the cut line, I believe. James Kerr, disconnected from this race, was sitting 12 points above the cut line. Mike Mosby's having a great night, so he's not going to be too much worry. But Kyle Wimble, who we just saw spin out, was sitting 18 points above the cut line. He's now fallen back to 23rd. So big hits here in the standings.
This is going to be absolutely insane by the time we get to next week in Vegas for the regular season finale for the SRN Truck Series. But, oh, by the way, we still got to settle this one tonight. And with as aggressive as we've seen 3 wide, 4 wide at times, this might not be the only overtime restart we get.
Yeah, and Josh Mueller, Mike Mosby, both going there for their first career wins in SRN. Andrew Harris looking to get back in victory lane after not being able to get there all season long, and Brad Herman just wanting to make up as many points as possible. We got all sorts of scenarios and headlines out here on the track, but we're green with 2 laps to go. This is our first green-white checker here for the Great Lakes 130. Josh Mueller gets a great jump on the field, just needs to take the stripe for 1 lap to go, and this thing will be official on the next flag.
Sean Jensick with a big momentum push on the outside. He's already up to the 4th position after restarting in, I believe it was 7th. So Jensick going to have a lot of momentum, but he's going to have to get past a couple more guys, Harris and Mosby, before he can even have a shot at closing in on Mueller. It might be too little too late as they come and take the white flag.
Yeah, Josh Mueller taking the white flag. Sean Jensick trying everything. He turns Andrew Harris. Andrew Harris through the grass here, keeps it clean, but I'm worried he's going to come back on the track.
Oh, what a save. But
Now
oh, by the way, here we go, side by side for the race lead. A lot pressure tires. Sean Jensick to the inside. Landon Cardulo shows up here as well.
Wow, so many different races happening here on the track. Unfortunate for Josh Mueller as he's got older tires. Sean Jensick rounding one more set of turns, coming to the checkered flag. Landon Cardulo trying to get by Josh Mueller. They're going to touch. Landon Cardulo spinning. Bo Tiffany to the inside. He's going to take second. And Josh Mueller now getting spun by Michael Madden. I believe Madden's going to come home in third. Sean Jensick's your winner tonight. Wow.
My goodness. And oh, by the way, on a night with huge playoff implications, big names in the playoffs wrecking, we just saw more happen coming to the line. I saw Bobby Anderson get caught up in that one, so our bubble driver caught in that wreck as well. And Josh Mueller caught up in it. He had to win to clinch a spot tonight. That obviously not going to happen. As we check out one final Beer Street Journal rec replay to check out what happened coming to the line, as you see Mueller and Cardulo get together. There's, it was Mike Mosby that got caught up in it. We see a couple more. Taylor Smith. There was one of the pink trucks out there. That might have actually been Bobby Anderson. And yep, it was, as he got caught up in it, but he did get past the line, I think. So he's going to hang on to the 15th position, crossing the line sideways. But speaking of sideways, we got some donuts going for the race winner, Sean Jensick. After all that, it turned out that pit stop was the right strategy as he charged from 7th to the win in the final 2 laps.
Man, it made for a heck of a finish, as it seemed like Landon Cardulo was going to run away with this race after that long green flag run. Green flag pit stops taken away, or taking away under that green flag run as well, kind of separating the field a little bit. He had a 5.5 second lead, but we had that last second caution, and you see it there, the 29 going to be doing donuts in victory lane with his Revved Racing teammates. So really unfortunate as Landon Cardulo comes home in 23rd place.
The good silver lining for Cardulo, at least picking up the bonus points for leading a lap. It looks like leading the most laps as well, and already locked in, so it doesn't have to worry about the playoff implications too much there. So obviously going to be disappointed with how that one turned out.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and give you guys the rundown of our top 20 finishers here tonight. Sean Jensick coming home in first place. Bo Tiffany with the big move to come home in second place on that last lap. AJ Pritchett coming home in third as well. So 2 independent drivers finishing in our top 3. Michael Madden coming home in 4th, and Jack Johnson coming home in 5th.
Big point night for a couple of guys just outside the top 5. Michael York going to finish in the 6th position. Brad Herman was 11 points out. He'll finish in 7th. Rob Yost, first driver out coming into this race, is going to wind up all the way up to 8th from 33rd on the starting grid. Sean Kozier will be 9th. And, oh, by the way, quiet night, but Jonathan Byer once again in the top 10 as he finishes in 10th.
Corey Knight, oh so close to that top 10. I'm sure he's still going to be very excited to be 11th tonight for do-gooders in that 90 truck. Brad Yonkman coming home in 12th. Blair Holloman coming home in 13th. Kyle Wimble going to come home in 14th after that late spin. Bobby Anderson going to be in 15th.
And all guys with playoff implications, 16th to 20th, as it's going to be Mike Mosby finishing in the 16th position. Josh Mueller, saw him leading so late in that race, trying that strategy of staying out on off pit road for that final restart, will be 17th. Bruce Amston in 18th. 19th place will be Don Milkowitz, and Dave Fuge Jr. going to round out the top 20.
Well, let's go ahead and get to the fun part of the show and get to the driver introductions. Go ahead and bring AJ Pritchett up here. AJ, it's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain up in the booth. Tell us about your 3rd place finish here tonight and how you're feeling, bud.
Oh, man, I don't know how to feel. That was a crazy ending to a crazy start of the race, and then it seemed to calm down there. And, of course, we had to have a green-white checkered finish. Yeah, it was thrilling, that was for sure. I know there was a lot of slower cars in front that hadn't taken that last pit stop, and I had a fresh set in the pits, and yeah, just trying to survive that last lap, really.
That was absolute chaos there, but you came in somewhat late here into the season, but how do you feel about your season thus far? We're getting close to the end of the regular season, but kind of building that momentum, seeing you moving up towards the front more and more here in these past few races, and winding up on the podium tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know quite the pace of these guys, and I think I started at Darlington, and that was a rough one. But I just got to thank Devin from Tank from inviting me here and get me in with this series. So hopefully I'll be racing with them full time next season. But I want to get my feet wet, and I think it's getting pretty wet.
All right, buddy. Well, before we let you go and send you back down there to your teammates to celebrate, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Oh man, I got to thank the entire Tank Racing team and all that comes with it, including Liftworks Incorporated, Chicago Heights, Healthcare Billing Incorporated, Raise Energy, Butcher Box, Teespring, Common Sense Supplies, and of course Invader Zim Designs. And just like I said again, all my teammates at Tank were cheering me on there at the end, and I was really pulling there for Josh and Jacob there. But I'll go and celebrate with them.
Yeah, they had great runs tonight. Great runs all around for Tank, as well as yourself running as an independent tonight. But go have fun celebrating with the boys, and we'll be seeing more of you as the weeks come on.
Thank you. Hope to see you guys soon.
All right, well, that was AJ Pritchett coming home in third tonight. But let's go ahead now, move on to our second place driver, and bring Bo Tiffany up here in the booth. Bo, it's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain. Tell us about this second place finish, man. How does it feel to come that close here at Michigan?
Oh, man, it was close. It was a fun race, though. I love racing these guys. Everybody's so much fun in the series. I don't know, I dodged 2 wrecks there, and I don't know, Spanish, I just put a set of tires on there at the end and just kind of made a qualifying lap the last 2, just trying to stay clear of everybody. But, yeah, it was fun. I needed one more lap.
Had that big momentum push once that wreck kind of cleared out in front. But, yeah, one thing I was noticing tonight was kind of just the way that you were just slowly kind of chipping away through the field pretty consistently as this night went on. But the other part, too, was seeing you the past couple weeks running in the truck series as well as being a regular in the Xfinity series. Is it just about like building momentum or trying to do a little bit more research on the track, or is it just enjoyment for the trucks?
A little bit of both. I mean, the trucks are fun, but yeah, research for the Xfinity cars. I mean, you guys know the aero packages are totally different, but you could try some different things with lines and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll see you out there tomorrow. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a shout out?
Just thanks everybody as normal. Like my wife, she's the one who supports me. Everybody that watches the feed, and everybody out there. Of course, everybody in the league that races with me. So yeah, I just appreciate everyone.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you as well. Congrats on the second place finish, man, and go have fun celebrating with the teammates.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that was Bo Tiffany coming home in second place tonight. Great run by him. But let's go ahead now and bring up our winner of tonight's race, Sean Jensick. It's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain up here in the booth. Congrats on the big W tonight here at Michigan. Tell us how you're feeling for your second win of the season.
Thank you, guys. I'm feeling good. It was a good race there for me. It's just unfortunate. I was pushed off to the side there a little bit halfway through one of those runs, but was able to keep it going, have a nice little bounce back. Caution saved me. I would have been content with coming home in second, but not going to complain winning the race.
And honestly, all you needed tonight, 32nd, to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Obviously, that gets done in a big way with the win. But how you feeling with not having to worry so much about Vegas and looking ahead to the playoffs now?
It's always nice, I got school starting back up, so unfortunately I haven't been able to put in as much work as I was able to over the summer. So it's definitely nice knowing that I'm definitely in. Vegas doesn't mean anything to me. I'm still going to go out there, help my teammates out and always race to win, but it's definitely nice knowing that.
Well, Sean, we're always happy to see you bringing it home up here in first place in your rookie season, having a great rookie campaign so far. But before we let you go tonight, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out Long MacArthur, Sparkle and Shine, and Silverback Tax Solutions. Also going to give a nice shout out to my Revved Racing teammates, you boys up in the booth, and my roommates watching right now.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate that. Before we let you go, also, we're going to go ahead and put this win sticker right next to your name. Fit 2 of them in there. There it is. It's official. You're a 2-time winner here in your rookie season in SRN. So congrats once again. And you know what? Go do some schoolwork, man.
8 a.m., baby. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, well, that was our winner for tonight, Sean Jensick, bringing it home and locking up his spot in the playoffs. Brandon, it was a wild race, a wild finish. We had 14 lead changes, 5 cautions, all of, or most of which I should say, came pretty early on for 15 laps, and quite a doozy at the end there.
Quite a doozy indeed. And next week, you see there, week 13, the Getting Lucky 120. We had a lot of guys get unlucky tonight, being just inside the playoff or just outside of that playoff cut line. We saw a good 10, 12 drivers all heavily affected by cautions that are surrounding that cut line, and it's just going to make next week at Vegas, the regular season finale, just that much more dramatic, with everybody all just piling in trying to get to those 15 qualifying spots.
Yeah, and some of these drivers are going to need some luck next week at Las Vegas if they want to find themselves inside the top 15. And now just remember again, though, there is that playoff lucky dog that one driver will get during the first race of the playoffs. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But we will be locking up the top 15 in the Xfinity Series tomorrow right here at Michigan International Speedway again for the Great Lakes 150. Quite a few spots left to clinch up here. And Brandon, you're looking to get one of them. We're going to get you one of them tomorrow, man.
Well, that might take a lot of work and a lot of help in the process. But sitting, I think it's 21 points out. So there's going to be a whole lot of ground to make up. I might be looking more at that lucky dog once we get to Vegas ourselves for the first week of our playoff. But a little bit of a flip side. You get to enjoy the race tomorrow, not having that much pressure on you there.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get out there and kind of just go on a Sunday cruise in a sense. But yeah, it's going to be a great race, as there's going to be a lot of hard racing out there like we saw today here in the Truck Series. You can catch that Thursday, October 7th. That's tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But that's going to do it for us tonight. As always, we appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. But for myself, Brandon Domain, Sean Griffith, that's going to do it for us. Good night and go faster.